It's now time for The Sit Down with Don Tony.
The Sit Down, where Don Tony talks one-on-one with his followers.
What are you looking at?
About the world of pro wrestling, pop culture, and so much more.
The Sit Down with Don Tony.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
What's going on, everybody? It is May 24th, 5/24/24. I am back for a little sit down. It's Friday night. SmackDown pre-recorded earlier today just went off the air. Tomorrow we have King and Queen of the Ring. A lot of buzz after Triple H added a little bit of an incentive, which probably is a little bit unfair to the previous participants in the tournament, but I digress. And then Sunday, we have AEW Double or Nothing. You saw the thumbnail for tonight's show. Will he or won't he? Anarchy in the Arena. Something tells me that Tony Khan is going to be making an appearance. So if you guys want me to discuss that a little bit further later, I shall. If you choose not, I shall not. What is the sit down for anybody that's new to this show? On Fridays, we call it the Lazy Show. I come here with nothing, almost nothing. Everybody who's live dictates what we talk about tonight. You ask the questions, I answer them, giving my opinions. I always opine. If you have a comment you want me to share, I will do that as well. Super chats are never required, but they are appreciated, and they do help keep us in business. So, and they'll always go to the front of the line. And big shout out to everybody. I'm looking at it right now. A bunch of you sent in some before we went live tonight. And I always enjoy that because it allows me to sometimes do a little research. And one in particular that has to do with Will Ospreay and Ricochet. I had no idea that this even happened today. But man, that pissed me off. I can't wait to get into that one. But listen, before we get into anything, SmackDown took place in Saudi Arabia. It was recorded this afternoon, and I am not going to lie to any of you out there. I watched most of the clips this afternoon. I did not watch it live tonight. No need to. Pretty much had the match results. Everything that I needed to see, I saw, and anything that I kind of felt was skippable, I skipped. For those that did not see SmackDown tonight, we did get our finalists for the King of the Ring on the SmackDown side and the Queen of the Ring. If you tuned into Kev Castle and my predictions on Monday, it is exactly what we said it would be. It's Gunther versus Randy Orton. Sorry, busted open. Jey Uso and Tama Tonga was not the money match that Tama Tonga could use the rub. Yeah, in Saudi Arabia, $50 million. That's almost as illogical as Will Ospreay saying that how WWE uses him is appalling. And he wishes more people knew the Dragon Gate Ricochet. Ha ha! I can't wait to get into that one. I tell you, the more I hear Will Ospreay talk, the more I realize he's not a WWE superstar. He's an indie darling. And, WWE is a billionaire entertainment company owned by TKO Group Holdings. And Will Ospreay wants us to remember a time where a guy performed in front of 175 fans. Don't believe me? I have the video to prove it. And we'll talk about that a little later. I did also see the QR codes for the recent teasing for Bo Dallas and his family. And listen, man, anybody that has followed my shows for a bunch of years knows, by far, Bray Wyatt is my favorite WWE superstar wrestler in the last 10, 15 years. I know Bray Wyatt was only around for about 10 plus, but, even going back further than that, mid 2000s was the last time that I actually was into, other stars a little bit more hardcore. Bray Wyatt was my favorite. But I'm also pretty realistic and honest about things. If you see what's going on right now with all the AEW bashing, I don't enjoy bashing AEW. I like cracking jokes here and there. I crack jokes about myself. I crack jokes about everything. We try to have fun, smile, laugh, poke fun at things. But it's just amazing to see so many people, especially in the podcast world, who for 3-4 years, a lot of shows, including us, called out all the bullshit, all the millennials, the snowflakes. Remember when we say AEW is going to be the first millennial promotion? And every time we called out the ridiculous booking, you saw those people not only calling it epic, amazing, unbelievable, but everything was in capital letters. It's the greatest shit they've seen as a wrestling fan in their lifetime. And now because Bischoff is banking 5 digits on YouTube, and because Jim Cornette is banking big, and Dutch Mantel and Vince Russo and anyone else, every fucking clip is an AEW criticism that AEW should do this and they need to do this and they need to do that. So now everybody else is like, wow, for 3-4 years, I not only licked the testicles and the sweat off the balls of AEW, and I got nothing in return. You ever see that? What is it? I drove 5,000 miles and all I got is this shirt. You had so many people that invested so much weird dedication to AEW. It was in a weirdness scale. They never got acknowledged. They thought they were in the in crowd. They thought they were going to be part of a bigger family. And now, because they realize after 3, 4, 5 years that they're not, now they want to join the other crowd. And it's pretty funny to see the people who created the fires trying to put it out. Don't you tell me how to fix AEW when you motherfuckers were the ones for 2-3 years that basically fondled them and said, no, everything you're doing is right. They're just bots. They're just haters. What did Shawn Michaels do one time? That's what they did. Now you want to tell me how to fix the fire that you started? And you fanned the flames for years. So you see all this nonsensical shit. Now, what does this have to do with Bo Dallas and his group? We miss Bray Wyatt. I look around this place. I could show you countless things, Bray Wyatt, just everywhere in this room. I even said that the Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt confrontations was being dragged out for so long that it started to really suck. And, the pinnacle of it was that neon lights out match, whatever, for the fucking Sprite, whatever, the neon match that he had with LA Knight. And I remember that, but I also remember, Uncle Howdy, teasing Bray Wyatt and getting in his mind. And, we knew that this was, the 5, the different personalities of Bray Wyatt all clashing with each other. And it dragged on and dragged on and dragged on. And it really started to suck. We don't want to remember it because we miss Bray Wyatt. Because Bray Wyatt was a master at what he did. We also need to remember that there is filter. There is the WWE creative. There is Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Triple H, and everybody else when Bray Wyatt returned. There's filter. Kevin and I talked about that Monday about Mercedes Moné. How does this Mercedes Moné in AEW suck so bad, especially even on the mic? In WWE, it was a different animal. Well, because in WWE, they said to Mercedes, no, here you playing a character, Sasha Banks. This is what you're doing. Mercedes Moné and AEW, say what you want. Do your thing. Show your personality. Be yourself. That's what they do with a lot of people there. Everybody has this creative. Why do you think there's overruns? I see, with all due respect, some of my more favorite podcasts out there that keep having these weird debates about the overrun, Do you know why they have the overrun? It's not about falsely inflating the rating, because the overrun averages 5, 6, 7 minutes. That's a half of an eighth of a show. It doesn't add up to any, even if they scored 100,000 more viewers in 7 minutes. When you do the division, it comes out to almost nothing. Do you know why they do the overrun? Because they don't know how to fucking put everything exactly in 2 hours. It's laziness, irresponsibility. We're running out of time. We only have 2 minutes left. Hurry up. Take it home. No. Oh, you got 7 minutes. Oh, we got 10 minutes. Oh, just if it goes over, so be it. If Bryan Danielson wants to spend an extra 2 minutes in the ring, so be it. If Jay White wants to cut extra 30 seconds, so be it. If Will Ospreay wants to do another flip, so be it. That's why there's an overrun, because they're not going to manage the fucking time in 2 hours. Once in a blue moon, it hits that. Why is AEW so spectacular? Because they go 5 extra. They don't know how to manage time. That's why there's an overrun, period. There's no big analysis. It's not about ratings. You add it up. It comes out to nothing. What's the difference if it's 672 or 676? You think that 4,000 viewers, you want a media goes to AEW. Hey, if this was 3,000 viewers less, you'd be history. Don't know how to manage time. It's that's what it is. So now we get back to Bray Wyatt, Bo Dallas, and his faction. Tomorrow is King and Queen of the Ring. And for the last 3 weeks, I watched everybody and their motherfucking stepchilds telling us that the Bo Dallas-led faction is debuting in Saudi Arabia. The QOR code that came out today now has this. Oh, no, that's last week. Hold on. I got it here. Here it is. Now has this. Another floppy disk. Now this one has a date that's cut off. 6-2, nothing else. Now everybody's like, hey, they're going to debut in June. What happened to King and Queen of the Ring? I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm a little bit fed up of all these QR codes. This is not like, the Shield reuniting or the original Wyatt family reuniting or the Blackpool Combat Club reuniting or D-Generation X or any fucking faction you put there. This is Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, Bo Dallas, maybe Alexa Bliss. Am I excited that they're going to get a chance to repackage themselves? Sure, absolutely. But when they do show up, it's Joe Gacy, it's Dexter Loomis, it's Nikki Cross, it's Bo Dallas, it's Eric Rowan, maybe it's Alexa Bliss. Excuse me if I don't feel like this is going to be epic, amazing, unbelievable. These QR codes are jumping the shark. I'm kind of fed up with it. Plus, when you have to put up 9 pictures, I take that back. 11, I take that back again. 12 different photos of teasers tonight. You're jumping the fucking shark. These are not main eventers coming in. When the Nexus debuted, The only reason why it was fucking awesome was because they destroyed the ring. They destroyed John Cena. Bryan Danielson choked out Justin Roberts. They fucking did something that we never saw on TV. What are they going to do? They're going to act like Looney Tunes? What are they going to do? Destroy Cody Rhodes? Sorry, being totally honest, as one of the biggest Bray Wyatt fans out there, I'm not excited about this anymore. Sometimes, let me put it this way. Sometimes when you want to have foreplay, you want to edge, if that's what you want to call it, you want to tease, you want to edge. After a while, it's no longer, like sexy, exciting, orgasmic, stimulating. Then it's like, come on, stop fucking teasing me, man. Get it fucking over with. That's what this is turning into to me. So, to answer Sticky Fingers, Frank, edging and sticky fingers. Yeah, I did see the latest QR code, and I do not think that they are debuting in Saudi Arabia. For what purpose? What are they going to do? Destroy Randy Orton? Really? Seriously? It's jumping the shark. Too many people don't want to admit it. Again, we love Bray Wyatt. We want to see Bo Dallas succeed. But I don't want to see Bo Dallas succeed simply because he was the brother of Bray Wyatt. I didn't want Chavo Guerrero to succeed on WWE television because he was related to Eddie. I want to see someone succeed because they're entertaining the fuck out of me. And I'm just not as excited as I used to. Now, the QR codes from tonight, there is somebody on YouTube that I got to shout out. The person is Mads, M-A-D-S. This person took the time to now analyze every photo, every word tease that came out with those QR codes tonight. And for a brief moment, I would just like to share them with you and who this person believes they are directed as. And I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense. All right, first off, before I show anything else, the QR code led to a word called kintsugi, K-I-N-T-S-U-G-I. Now, if you actually do a little research about kintsugi, I found this. It's an ancient Japanese art of repairing pottery with gold. The bowl becomes more beautiful for having been broken. See what this has to do with the Bo Dallas group? The family is broken. The parts of this group are broken, but they're going to be repaired, and they're going to be repaired with gold. That's what that word is. Again, great. Now let's see it play out on TV. Sorry, H. Yeah! Did not work out. Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, did not work out. Indus Shear did not work out. DIY, meh. I could go on and on and on. Not everybody works out. Why is this suddenly going to be magical because one person is the brother of Bray Wyatt? I got to see more QR codes I'm tired of. But let's get into these very, very quickly. The first one that came up was Pray. And again, this is somebody on Twitter by the name of Mads, M-A-D-S, that I thought took a very good amount of time researching this, and I want to give this person credit, and I'm going to read what this person had to say. And this person believes that Pray stands for Joe Gacy. The family meaning schism. They all left him, and when he and Ava split, he kept saying that everything was wrong and all hope was lost. I see what he can become could mean his potential as seen by Bo Dallas. Because Pray in this says, this one is loyal, his family was not. The vultures picked at him until he was aside anew. I see what he became, I see. So this person believes it's Joe Gacy. Then we move on to Truncheon. This one brings me joy. He already knows the way. We will behold his wrath down in his inflictions. This person believes that this is Dexter Loomis. Maybe possibly Eric Rowan, who would know his way around the Wyatt family already. Then we continue. And I'm sorry if this is kind of boring anyone, but hey, this is all supposed to lead into something big. We might as well get into them, right? Hex, this one searched for a friend. She found none. So she shared into the abyss, hoping someone would glance back, and still no one cared. I will lead her out of darkness, but let her keep her darkness inside. Everybody believes this is about Nikki Cross. She searched for sanity. She thought she had a friend in Alexa Bliss. You think of the Candice LeRae stuff. Nobody really cared for her. So this is probably referencing Nikki Cross. We move on to she. When she speaks, mountains should tremble. I'm waiting for her. I could only open the door. She must close it to walk through. Now, the reason why I am happy about this one is because what we've been saying the last couple of weeks, that sixth member has to be a woman. You cannot have Nikki Cross all by herself, because with all due respect, if she ends up laying a wet fart, there's no other female in the group. Plus, Nikki Cross with another woman in this group, a lot of the pressure could be taken off of Nikki Cross. Now I'm starting to think Alexa Bliss may be a possibility. I honestly said it. I honestly did not believe it, because Alexa Bliss has had the fame, has had the fortune, has reached the mountaintop. She has not been neglected. She took time off to get married and have a family. I get it. The last perception is, the stuff with the Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse, but still, Alexa Bliss has done a lot. So I still don't feel Alexa Bliss fits, but a lot of people still believe that this is Alexa Bliss. Okay, let's continue on. We have a few more. Now we get to unveil. Do not lie to me. Do not lie to yourself. We're worn our masks long enough, brother. Revel in what you are. And they believe that this is about Eric Rowan being in denial of his true self. Revel in what you are. So this apparently is for Eric Rowan. And then we continue a little bit more. We go to empathy. Where is your empathy? All they want is a chance. You reject them without merit. You pray for their demise. What sadness do you mask? What worm consumed your heart? I hope you find solace. I hope you find peace. This is basically describing every member in this group, which is what you and I figured out a couple of weeks ago, that this is the land of misfit toys, the ones that were promised a lot but were not given the opportunity. Everybody else is talking about monsters and everything like that. We talked about opportunity. And that's what the empathy is for. That is for the group. Then we go to purpose. I found solace in the words of the red. I looked closer. The prophecy became clear. I am the catalyst, the healer, the shepherd. I will set them free. I will give them life. Then we start wrapping this up. Owari. There is a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. A choir of tears sing of you forever. And Spark. This one was abandoned, left for dead, begged for approval, was beaten instead. I will show you how to be free. You are safe now. Many believe that this has to do with Dexter Loomis. Then we have establishment, which is obviously, WWE. Seems every week there is another. I wish to vanquish them, but I must give them time to repair. I wish I was already there with all of you, but I can't be selfish. A lack of repentance carries a heavy price. Please give me a little longer. You understand, right? Yeah, I don't think longer is going to help. And that pretty much wraps it up. So, I am excited to see these people reinvented, given an opportunity. But at the end of the day, this is a little bit too much. You know, if there was some bigger names involved in this, yeah, tease me more. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you know who is coming out. With all due respect, the WWE Universe never seemed to really give that much of a big deal to Dexter Lumis. Didn't give that much of a big deal to Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, NXT. Eric Rowan, yeah, maybe a little different. But, you know, this is not like where, put it this way, I don't recall many conversations where we used to say, man, this person is so over with the WWE Universe. Why isn't WWE giving this person more of an opportunity? Maybe Bo Dallas to an extent. Maybe. So, all right. So that was tonight. Now, a couple other things with SmackDown tonight. Nia Jax beat Bayley to advance to the Queen in the Ring. Not Bayley, Bianca Belair to advance to the Queen in the Ring finals. And as Kevin and I expected, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are having a match in Saudi Arabia. They were smacking the front of the poster. You knew they were having a match. They're going to take on Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. So that's pretty much what we have to look forward to over there. Also, Randy Orton beat Tama Tonga to advance to the final. Randy Orton will be taking on Gunther. Now, before I go any further, a couple of days ago, or maybe even yesterday, it just feels like a while, Triple H announced that both winners of King and Queen of the Ring will get a title opportunity at SummerSlam. So now everybody's immediately saying Randy Orton's winning King in the Ring. It's going to be Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Nia Jax, I think Nia Jax is obviously getting it. Nia Jax versus Bayley at SummerSlam, that's happening. Excuse me for a second. Had to put the air conditioner on. It's like 80 degrees outside. It's really hot in here, as you can see. I normally don't tap the brow, but it is hot here. So Randy Orton and Gunther in the final. Nia Jax in the final as well against Lara Vacaria. Lara Vacaria at SummerSlam going for a title. I don't see it. Now, as far as Randy Orton goes, because I know somebody sent me a super shout out earlier. This is from Umar Akwi. Hey, DT, thank you for the love the other week about my dad. My condolences again to you, my friend. My question is, do you think Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes happens at SummerSlam? Randy is a better heel. All right. Two things I have to say about this. Randy Orton had a little bit of a confrontation tonight with Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. Cody Rhodes was in the back, and now because the stipulation is the winner of this match does go on to SummerSlam for a championship opportunity, they're teasing a little bit of friction between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Now, because of this extra stipulation, a lot of you are asking me, DT, do you still think Gunther is going to win King of the Ring tomorrow? My answer is yes. Randy Orton does not need to win King of the Ring to take on Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton, King of the Ring will be forgotten if Randy Orton wins it in Saudi Arabia because it's Saudi Arabia. King of the Ring fits Gunther's character 10 times more. Drew McIntyre is going to be taking on Damian Priest at Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre is not taking on Damian Priest at SummerSlam. So, if Damian Priest retains the championship against Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, and Damian Priest ends up becoming a babyface, then we will end up having Damian Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam, which would be a pretty damn intriguing match because most people, I think, will believe Gunther is your next World Heavyweight Champion. Think about it. Gunther, history-making run with the Intercontinental title. The Ring General, King of the Ring, World Heavyweight Champion. Pretty fucking impressive, I would say. Most people think Gunther is one of the top number one wrestlers in the WWE. So Randy Orton could absolutely still face Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Randy Orton does not need to win King of the Ring to do that. All Randy Orton needs to do is RKO fucking Cody Rhodes and boom, there's your match. Plus, you need to realize something. WWE does not have a plethora of opponents for Cody Rhodes to face that are on SmackDown right now. Taking Solo Sikoa on, not a SummerSlam match. Tonga Loa, so Tama Tonga, not bad. Is that a SummerSlam match? Nah. I think most people out there think it's going to be the Bloodline versus the Bloodline. SummerSlam this year, it's 2 nights. Minnesota, 2 nights of SummerSlam. Just like WrestleMania weekend, now we have 2 nights for SummerSlam. Obviously, we need some bigger matches, more big matches. Bloodline versus Bloodline, Randy Orton versus Cody, Gunther versus either Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest. So that's what I am sticking with. I don't think Randy Orton needs to win King of the Ring to take on Cody, but we will know tomorrow. And hey, if I am wrong and Randy wins King of the Ring, fine with me. But I look at Gunther, who this is the building. Randy Orton is a classic car that you turn on and still purrs like a cat, still fucking blows everybody away on the highway, that is still absolutely beautiful. Everything about this classic car is fucking awesome. Gunther is a brand new car that is still being tweaked and manipulated and molded. King of the Ring, ring general, longest reigning IC championship of all time, world heavyweight champion. Pretty fucking strong resume for Gunther. That's what I'm going with. Carmelo Hayes, thank you, WWE. They are going to keep him on the heel side. He is aligning himself with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. They did a little angle tonight that also involved LA Knight. Street Profits ended up getting involved, and tonight we had LA Knight and the Street Profits beat Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Carmelo Hayes. Logan Paul teasing that he's not going to use the brass knucks tomorrow. Brass knucks will probably come into play. Maybe Cody Rhodes knocks out Logan Paul with the brass knucks. You know, everybody thinks because Cody wears a suit and Cody is prim and proper and very professional that Cody Rhodes is not a sports entertainer. I fucking love the people that hear the busted open interviews with Brian Gerwitz and Cody Rhodes and everyone else, and they think that everything they're saying is 100% shoot, that there's no storyline, little teasing involved in that. Oh my God, this is sports entertainment, perfectly cooked, well done. You got to get out of this Michael Landsberg, TSN off the record, or Ariel Helwani, or anyone else. And I'm not bashing Ariel Helwani. Fucking, I think he's awesome. You know, everybody thinks that whenever somebody opens their mouth on a show that it's a shoot, and everything they say is not storyline driven. We just had this long conversation on Patreon on Tuesday that busted open. If you know what their purpose is and what they are, then you understand why they exist and why they're doing as well as they are. They are the safe space for WWE. They are the safe space that they're not going to throw any gotcha, you know, putting someone in a corner question that's going to kind of, you know, ruin a storyline or expose something. You know, that's why Tama Tonga should have been in King of the Ring. You know, that's why if you really examine it closely, that's why do you think Undertaker and the WWE stars show up on Busted Open and almost nowhere else that has a legitimate name behind it. You know, you see some interviews on Fightful and others because they feel safe over there. They know that these places are not going to try to do the gotcha stuff. And listen, by the way, before we go any further, actually, let me finish the SmackDown results, and then I want to say something. Bayley beat Chelsea Green. After the match was over, Piper Niven attacked Bayley. Let me make this clear. As much as I enjoy Piper Niven, this is just to buy time until Nia Jax takes on Bayley at SummerSlam. SummerSlam is not happening yet. So they need to have someone else in the meantime, and that's why Piper Niven is in there. Make no mistake about it. This is just to buy time for Nia Jax to take on Bayley at SummerSlam. Period. AJ Styles met with Nick Aldis, and after all of that, teasing and what is he going to do, and he wants another shot at the Undisputed Championship, and Nick Aldis said no. Whew. Randy Orton beat Tama Tonga, as I said earlier. Tonga Loa did not travel to Saudi Arabia. Some of you out there already expected that not to happen. That's fine. Kevin Owens made the save at the very end of the show. Makes you think that we might have a little bit of bloodline fuckery at King of the Ring. We will know in a short amount of time, less than, 16 hours? You will know. Now, before I give you the floor and we finish the show with your questions, a couple of things right off the bat. First of all, you got to forgive me if the show ends a little early today. Anybody that knows me personally already knows this. I had my dog Bella spaded today. I didn't want to do it. Had to be done. And she is inside in a hell of a lot of pain. So I got to kind of spend some time with her and try to make her feel a little better. So we're getting another puppy in about a month. We don't want to take the chance of Bella getting pregnant. Plus, I don't want to deal with dog periods. And I also think it's unfair for Bella to get in heat and there's nobody to bang. There's health reasons too, but I had to get it done today and it's done. Plus, it sucks big time. I have a stackable washer and dryer. I have it for 25 years, Kenmore. It's a stackable, the ones that for small places. So we bring Bella home from the vet today and she throws up all over her bed. So we throw it in the washing machine. We wash it. No problems. We put it in the dryer, ran it for 20, 30 minutes, open it up. It's soaking wet. My fucking dryer burnt out on me. So after 25 years, talk about perfect timing, my washer and my dryer is pretty much done. So now next Thursday, I have Home Depot installing a new washer and dryer, a $2,000 expense I did not want to have coming, but it is. Now, one other thing. Next Friday, I cannot do the show. Next Friday is my brother's wife's 50th birthday, and they're doing a surprise party for her. It's Friday night. I can't get out of it. I don't think I should get out of it, so I will not be around next Friday. But a week from this Sunday, Kev Castle and I will be here on YouTube doing another Ask DTKC. It's kind of like a sit down. Kev Castle will be joining the show. And we did one a few months ago that was a banger, had an awesome turnout, tremendous questions. We generated a lot of fundage towards the expenses of the shows also. So Kev Castle is joining me next Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube for another Q&A and another sit down. And what's cool also is that it's Kev Castle's birthday. Going to be, I think, 56 years old. So happy birthday, Kev Castle. We'll be celebrating his birthday next Sunday, too. I actually shipped out his birthday present today. So he'll get it. He knows there's a package coming. He doesn't know what it is, but most of you out there already know what I was getting him. And one other thing before I give you the floor. I got to address something. And I just want to say it as sincere as I possibly can. I don't like blocking anybody. I could honestly say in the last 3 years, I might have blocked one person here on YouTube. And on Patreon, I might have deleted one person in 3 years. I don't like doing it. I love giving everybody freedom of speech. You have every right to express your opinion. Believe me, I had some interesting debate on Patreon. Someone who is a huge animal lover considers spading a dog animal abuse, and that sparked a lot of emotion from other people and was a back and forth. It got pretty tense. Everybody has a right to their opinion. What I do not want And it's been happening on Discord. And I get it. Some people like to just fuck around, joking a little bit. But there's some people that try to rattle you a little bit. And then it started bleeding into Twitter. And I just want to make it clear here. And it has to do with Karrion Kross. Okay? I get it. Kevin and I are biased towards Karrion Kross because he's a friend of the family. He has supported us before he ever got into pro wrestling. He is one of the few people in the wrestling world that tell others publicly, tune into these guys. He is a friend. And I understand how horrible the helmet was. I understand that Adam Cole and NXT ripped him one big time. I understand that WWE Creative did not do a great job with him, just like they didn't do a great job with the Bearcat and all the other stupid shit that you heard about Adam Cole managing and everything else. I get it. If you don't think Karrion Kross is doing great on SmackDown and now Raw, if you don't like the character, if you don't think it's gelling, if you're not a fan of it, if you think it, that you have every right to that opinion. But if you're going to keep spamming our pages because we support him publicly and we shout him out and we want to see him do better, you're going to get blocked and banned, period. Because I get it. Some people feel that his push in WWE has not been all that great. Fine. Totally respect that view. But this is a friend that we're rooting for. This is a friend that we support. This is a friend that we're trying to, help. WWE's not going to take our advice. He's not going to take our advice. They're going to do what they feel is best for business. But if some people out there are going to keep throwing the digs and keep throwing the jokes and like, oh, look at this, so that's your friend, you're just going to get blocked. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. But just respect the fact that he is a friend of ours and we are showing support for a friend. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it does work out, it's pretty fucking cool to see. Look at my former close friend, Timmy Arson, the ECW zombie. That motherfucker was the first person ever to be on WWE's ECW on Sci-Fi. It was cringe. It was horrendous. What WWE did to ECW was an abomination. But that was my fucking friend. That was my hotline partner. Do you know what it felt like? The Blackheart Sports Entertainment hotline and one of our partners, Matt Zombie, Brian Damage, yours truly, and Timmy Arson. And Timmy Arson, who was still doing the hotlines with us, said, guys, make sure you tune into ECW tonight. Why? What's going on? We thought he was going to be a security guard. No, you got to tune in. We fucking tuned it in. 5 minutes in, the zombie pops up with the Sandman. We were crying. That's our friend. That's our hotline. This is our buddy. This is the guy who we fucking hung out with, drank, partied with, did a hotline almost every day with. And he's now Trivia Pursuit question. First person ever to be in WWE's ECW. It was horrible, but that was our friend. And I'm always going to sing praise of it and talk positive about it. So don't disrespect our friends. That's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. He sent a little something towards the washer and dryer fund. Listen, I applied for a Home Depot card today. I got approved. They gave me like 18% off. I'll pay it off in 2 years. It is what it is. But hey, it's a part of life, right? It's a part of life. But thank you for that, Roger. That was very, very kind of you. So let's bring this to the floor. Let's get into your questions, your comments. We've already run 43 minutes. I think 90 minutes tonight, give or take a couple of minutes, is going to be the goal. At least another half hour or so. And I want to get into a few more that came in advance, and then we'll open it up to the chat room for those interested too. Yeet Hater, thank you for sending the 10 spot. The Yeet Hater would like to know, DT, I heard your rant on Monday about Eddie Kingston's injury. What's your reaction that he's going to be out for a year? This is difficult. I've supported Eddie Kingston for almost 20 years. He's a homeboy from my neck of the woods. We rooted for him when nobody knew who he was. But that injury that he suffered against Gabe Kidd was so unavoidable. It was so avoidable. What am I saying? It was so avoidable. I was saying on Monday, and I appreciate that nobody took it the wrong way. When you're that irresponsible, you deserve what you get. Even me, awful wrestle crap stuff, you all just looking at the distance between the guardrail and the edge of the ring. And Gabe Kidd suplexes him, and Eddie Kingston's head is already 6 feet away from Gabe Kidd's feet. I mean, what did Eddie Kingston expect? He's going to be out a year. Broken leg, torn ACL, torn MCL. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but Eddie Kingston tonight said, hey, it's a part of wrestling. I got to get better. You want to know something, everyone? He's right. But he said, I got to get better, meaning that he's got to get back to the ring. No, sir. When you say you got to get better, you got to get better inside the fucking ring. I watched Roosh take on, I think it was Dante Martin. I think tonight on Rampage, I was watching clips. And Roosh is chopping Dante Martin. Now, I'm not going to ruin my Gabagol shirt, sorry. But Dante Martin pulls his shirt open because Roosh is chopping him. And he's like, chop me! Is that supposed to mean you're tough? That you could take the chops? If I get into a fight with someone on the street, you punch me in the face and it doesn't hurt, I don't stand there and say, hit me again, motherfucker. Hit me again. Punch me again. Kick me again. Grab my nuts. Squeeze my ass. Choke me out. You ain't hurt me. Sooner or later, you're going to fuck me up. I don't give the person an opportunity. It's not an intimidating thing. Since when did we ever see somebody in a match do that and the other person gets so intimidated that they run off and pee their pants? Listen, if it's hulking up, if it's Cody Rhodes, come on! Yeah, that's fine. When it's Dante Martin, you fucking nerd goof. You know, you tell a Roosh, chop me, I could take it. Good, let me grab a 2x4 and bash you in the head. It's just stupid. It's stupid. Eddie Kingston, out a year? That guy's not 30 years old, my friend's haircut. That guy's not 30 years old. That guy's career is going to come to a close. And I say this also, not with malice, but I almost want to show my tits for an example, but I'm not. You see Eddie Kingston's physique. What the fuck do you think Eddie Kingston's going to look like when he returns? They're not doing surgery now on his ACL and MCL. Do you know why they're not doing surgery? Because it's the other fucking leg. They don't want to operate on his MCL and ACL, and then he can't put any weight on his left leg, and his right leg is broken. This guy will be in a wheelchair 24/7. So they're making him heal up the broken leg before they do the surgery. You know what it's like? Anybody out there ever get their eyes operated on? You know, you start seeing cataracts and stuff, they operate on your eyes. They do one at a time. They do one, they wait for it to heal, and then they do other. If anybody's ever had their knees replaced, they do one, they wait for it to heal, and then they do the other. They don't do both at the same time. Eddie Kingston is going to be out for a year, and he can't work out. He can't train. It's his legs. What is he going to do? This is what you do. This is a spoon. That's going to be his exercise. What is he going to do? Eddie Kingston's career is coming to a close. Motherfucker's got to be more careful. Because when I saw that move, I wasn't like, he's tough. He's fucking tough as nails, man. No, I'm like, wow, you're stupid. Seeing these people do this shit, that's why I can't wait to get to Will Ospreay. Oh, what an idiot. What, for such a great wrestler, what a fucking moron. In fact, we'll get into it now. Ronnie C with a 10 spot. Don, call me Tony. Please discuss Will Ospreay calling the WWE use of Ricochet appalling. And he wished more people remembered the Dragon Gate Ricochet. Dragon Gate Ricochet. Oh, that brings back memories. Listen, Ricochet in Dragon Gate was great. This is 2011, 2012, around that time frame. And in the process of doing some research on Ricochet's matches tonight, because Ronnie sent this before we went live, I found a video floating around on Twitter that's showing Ricochet in Dragon Gate because people on Twitter are talking about Will Ospreay's comments. Now, I'm going to show you the clip. It's about 2 minutes long. Now, for everybody audio only, no worries. I want you to just pay attention to the audio. For everybody on video, I want you to look at the video, and I'm going to pause it at one point, and then I'm going to tell you what you should look out for, and then you'll understand why Will Ospreay is a fucking moron. Let me pull up this video. I want everybody to look at this video. Now, this is Dragon Gate. Some of the Dragon Gate is overseas. I think they might have even visited China for a couple of events. Dragon Gate in Japan. Then you also had 30 events of Dragon Gate USA in the United States. Now, when you watch this video, I want you to pay attention to the Japanese crowd when Ricochet does his moves. Yes, Japanese fans don't fucking jump out of their seats like people do in the United States. But I want you to take note that the only people that fucking made a stink about what Ricochet was doing in the ring was whenever Dragon Gate was in the United States. And when you see Ricochet hit a move on Chuck Taylor, when you see him with Adam Cole, I want you to keep in mind that the attendance, and this is straight from research, the attendance for these events, and I'm looking at it right now, 110, 175, 243. Will Ospreay wants WWE to use Ricochet like he was used in Dragon Gate USA, a promotion that averaged 300 people in attendance. He wants WWE to use Ricochet as a fucking spot monkey that drops people on their head, does these crazy risque moves that one slip and that motherfucker is draws. Because it's not about storytelling. It's not about preserving someone's career so they could wrestle 15 years. It's about, let me put it this way. This might sound ridiculously foolish, but it just crossed my mind. This is the difference between Will Ospreay and a bunch of people with that same mindset and AEW compared to WWE and their stuff. WWE wants full-blown sex. Foreplay, teasing, going down, carpet munching, whatever you want to do. Then you have the sex, half an hour, fine. For Will Ospreay, it's about the moves. It's about that 10 seconds of gratification. That it's got to be an orgasm. He wants someone to blow their load 35 times during a match. Where WWE builds it up to the climax. That's the difference with half the matches in AEW, with Will Ospreay and everybody else. It's not about telling a story in the ring. It's about doing this move and doing this move and flipping upside down. When you look at Ricochet and Dragon USA, I want you to just pay attention to the moves. And none of it is storytelling. None of it is episodic TV. None of it is building a character. It's somebody fucking doing a spot monkey. He wants somebody to wind him up like a monkey from the 20s and do spots. That's what Will Ospreay wants more of. The Ricochet that got over with 300 people instead of 15,000. Here's the video. You fucking moron. Now, you're going to get some USA. You could tell the USA stuff from the American commentary. Just pay attention to the USA stuff.
With charging Taylor.
There you go.
Handspring out of the corner, right onto the shoulders. Takes him over with a Hurricanrana. Standing shooting star.
Look, everybody, I'm a spot monkey. Yeah, no, the crowd ain't reacting.
Ricochet up and over. Backslide driver by Ricochet on Cole. And an elbow to Chucky T. Runs up onto the shoulder. Swinging DDT on Taylor.
Do that in the WWE in the last 5 years, tops. 300 people. 300 people. That's why WWE doesn't want people like this in the company. It's listen, if you like spots, morning storyline, by all means, everyone. But don't call WWE's use of Ricochet appalling. That's the WWE style. You obviously don't fit that style. You just want to do spots, your favorite spots, the ones that give you a hard on. That's what you want to do. You don't want to tell a story. All right. Listen, Ricochet is fucking talented, but Ricochet ain't stupid either. Nobody should kill their body like that in front of 210 fans. Sorry, I wouldn't. All right, let's move on. Let me go back over here. Okay, we talked about A. Kingston. Umar we talked about as well. Okay, Dreamer 101 with the $9.99. Thank you, Dreamer. WWE announcing its highest ticket gate doesn't mean there's a wrestling boom. They're raising prices. If I sell 10 cookies for $1 and next week sell 10 cookies for $6, doesn't mean there's a cookie boom. You are absolutely right. I never said there was a wrestling boom. WWE having record revenue. I remember clearly talking to Kevin saying, gee, I wonder what the prices were in France. Because we said it's not even 20,000 fans. How do you have that much revenue and the building's not 30, 40,000 fans? So yeah, it is raising prices. There's no question about it. But this is my honest answer about it. We're not seeing 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 6,000 fans. We're seeing a lot of sellouts. And we're seeing events 15,000 plus. And it's happening in the United States too. So there is a visible increase in people attending WWE events. Now you look at UFC. I don't buy UFC pay-per-views. I'm not a fan of Ultimate Fighting. I don't like MMA. But I do know that MMA is a hell of a lot more expensive than pro wrestling. And yet they still get crazy, crazy pay-per-view buys. If people like it, they will pay. WWE getting record revenue. Let me put it this way. We're not seeing less people going and they're making more money because of revenue being increased. Both are happening. WWE and TKO, they're looking at the attendance and the buzz, and they're raising their prices accordingly. And they're going into different countries and they're giving premium money for it, but they're also delivering. They're giving. Now, I will say this, Backlash's card in France was a little bit underwhelming. I would never have paid that kind of money to see Backlash in France live and in person. But because France never gets WWE, that's might be a once-in-a-lifetime chance for those fans to go in person. So when they're serenading like this and they paid that kind of money, my God, you best damn believe that I'm going to fucking do whatever I want. As long as I don't cause trouble, just like, phenomena. I'm not going to play the song, but we sung the France song 2 weeks ago. But yeah, no, you're right. But I never said it was a wrestling boom. AEW's attendances have not been very good. TNA's attendances have not been spectacular. WWE's seen some increase, but it's not a tremendous increase. They're getting big revenue because they're charging premium money. That's what it is. But you're right. It's not a wrestling boom. But they're going to get 150,000 fans in Las Vegas. So they're going into areas where they believe that they could draw big. So the days of pay-per-views, premium live events happening in smaller areas is probably out the door. If you are in a rural area, you probably better be prepared to drive for an hour, hour and a half if you want to see a WWE event in person. Shout out to Nero Faye. I agree. You didn't have to super shout out that for me to say this, but yes, let our hostages go. Pray for peace. I want to see both sides. Listen, we heard about that tragedy in Iran with the president getting killed in a helicopter crash. Now, that guy was not a good guy. But, you look at it now and people are hoping that maybe some change will happen in Iran as a result. My honest take is, too much poison. Too many people still alive with that same mindset. It's like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, it's going to take 30, 40 years for Saudi Arabia to really, truly, change completely. And listen, I don't want to get into all political about this, but I'll say this right now. I live in the United States, free country. You do have a lot of freedom in the country. There's still racism. There's still bias. There's still, homophobia. There's still this. My point is, we're never going to be there's no country out there, and there's never going to be a lifetime we're going to go to a certain area unless it's a desert island. Gilligan's Island might be the only exception, where you're going to go and everybody's going to get along with everybody. It's going to be kumbaya and cake and ice cream. There's always going to be hate. There's always going to be bias. There's always going to be prejudice. There's always going to be, sexism. There's always going to, it's just, hopefully on a small scale. But even in Saudi Arabia, you need those 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds that still have that mindset from 20, 30 years ago. They need to die off. And the people now who are in their teens and 20s and 30s that are more contemporary and they have a better understanding about freedom and rights, those are the ones that have to dictate tomorrow. So, I wish for peace everywhere. There'll never be full-blown, complete peace, but, hopefully something gives on both sides. So it is what it is. So, yeah, even Iran's going to take decades for even a little bit of change. So, all right. Going through some questions sent in advance. Oh, okay. This is from Roger Rubio. Thank you for the 5 spot. And thank you again for the other gift. DT, I was at the AEW show on Wednesday, and I agree with you 100% on the state of AEW. It was eye-opening being there live in the arena. Listen, this is the list that I forgot last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 titles being defended in AEW right now. 15. Now, WWE has World Heavyweight Champion, Women's World Champion, Raw Tag Team Champions, Intercontinental Champion. 4 on Raw. SmackDown, they have United States Champion, Undisputed WWE Universal Champion, SmackDown Tag Champions, U.S. Champion. No, I said it right. Women's Champion. So they have 8 championships. AEW is 15. And half of them are Ring of Honor. And Moxley's New Japan IWGP Championship is treated bigger than Swerve Strickland. The problem with AEW, with their TV, is that every time I see the thumbnail and there's a title smack in the middle, I'm not interested. Swerve Strickland defending the championship against Nick Wayne or some dumb fuck from Japan. I know Swerve Strickland ain't dropping that title. Edge taking on Brody King. I know he ain't dropping that title. And as cool as it was to see Malachi Black drenched in the blood, a week ago, AEW fans were making fun of Kevin Nash getting doused sort of in his ass with blood from the new blood in WCW. A week earlier, AEW fans were on Twitter laughing at Bischoff, laughing at Vince Russo, laughing at the blood, and somebody in creative says, let's do it, but let's do it better. Flamethrower. I hope Darby had a license for the flamethrower. Why don't you come out with a machine gun next time? Come out with a machete. Seriously. I mean, flamethrower, what are you going to do with it? If honestly, in storyline, if Darby Allin comes up with me with a flamethrower, I'd be like this. I'd be like, go ahead, motherfucker. I dare you. I dare you. Fucking burn me in the face. I dare you. I dare you, asshole. And let's see in storyline what really happens. Seriously, you come out with a flamethrower? What the fuck is he going to do with a flamethrower? Burn someone's shoe with it? Like, really? I mean, people, I watched some of the media scrum today with Tony Khan, and somebody's like, I hope Darby had a permit for the flamethrower. Yeah, I think. It's not about the it's not about the permit. The fuck are you going to do with a flamethrower? What are you going to do? Burn somebody with it, motherfucker. If you're going to bring it, you better be able to use it. That's the problem sometimes with wrestling on TV. They use weapons that are just, it's bizarre. It does, like with a sledgehammer, okay. You know, with a baseball bat, okay. In real life, if I crack you over the head with a baseball bat, I'm in jail for attempted murder. You probably head split wide open. That's why they give you a gut shot. That's why they're not supposed to just in storyline hit you over the head, because any real person that gets hit over the head with a baseball bat will be in critical condition in a hospital. This motherfucker comes out with a flamethrower. As much as I like Darby Allin, I watched that and I'm like, what? And I can't say it on YouTube. I'll get flagged. What moron thought that was a great idea? Like, you want to use something that no one has seen? You know, look. Terry Funk used to bring out a flaming brandy iron. And what did he do? He burned Cactus Jack in the chest with it. He teased that he was going to burn him in the neck with it. That's a branding iron that you're going to brand someone. This guy fucking comes out with something that looks like Islamic jihad. Are you going to come out and just fucking... Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. And what's sad about it is there's so many good people in AEW that work good. But, you know, what Tony Khan doesn't figure out, is that this is the United States. No matter Ching Chung, Hung Fo, Well Hung from China comes in, or some dumb fuck from Japan, or Jose Cuervo's from Mexico, this is the United States. And for many, 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 many decades, we have been given sports entertainment, episodic television. We've given storylines. That's why the bloodline was most of our memories are the skits, the storylines. It's not the individual matches. And let's be honest, there was a lot of farts with the bloodline. Roman Reigns and Finn Balor. Finn Balor takes a trip off the top rope. You know, you look at the tribal wars, you know, the tribal combat. It was ridiculous. So we remember skits, the Wyatt family in the Shield, face to face in the ring. People are chanting, holy shit, they didn't put their fingers on each other. This is what United States stuff is. If I open a restaurant in the United States, I'm not going to sell raw snails on ice and breaded earthworms and deep fried caterpillar and fucking, you know, monkey brains. That's a delicacy in a different country. In the United States and where I live, you fucking throw it. Somebody's like, oh, I'd rather fucking eat 9-year-old pussy than eat something like that. So this guy has the indie mentality, the Japanese mentality, and you try to focus on that. And in the meantime, you put all these other beautifully looking things to try to pull people in. And then what happens? You reel someone in, they look, they see, and it's like, I don't need fucking raw fish eggs and I'm out of here. And the storylines that people do invest in, it features people I don't care. Why do I care about AR Fox? Why do I care about fucking Gravity? Why do I care about Chuck Taylor? Why? Because you put him on TV for fucking 4 years, I'm supposed to care? He got injured. I'm like, listen, nothing personal, but good. Get the fuck off my TV. They put people on TV that they think are a big deal, but for the everyday wrestling fan, they're like, the fuck is this? You know, I'm not going to put somebody starting my football team or baseball team simply because everybody on the team likes him. He can't fucking play. He can't fucking play. If he wants to play Little League, if he wants to play video games, that's fine. But it's not fucking major leagues. And also with Tony Khan, I've said this many times. I get it. You know, the Hall of Famers say it, and then everybody's like, wow, that was a good one, Jim. That was a good one, Eric. That was a good one, Dutch. That's a good one, Vince. Ha ha. Hey, Kevin. We've been saying it for years. You could have all these fucking toys. But he has a Lamborghini, he has a Ferrari, he's got this, he's got that. But if he doesn't know how to drive stick, all he's got to do is, hey, everybody, look at my beautiful cars. I could start it up, but I don't know how to drive them. You know, maybe I could put AI in there and it could drive itself. And then you see these people going out there and they're cutting these promos and you could tell that there's nobody doing filter. And they think that, oh, storyline booking, Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné, she got hurt 2 years ago. This is a 2-year storyline building. No, if she's the CEO, you go for the biggest gold in the company. You don't just go to the TBS title. You know, unfinished business. No, I'm the CEO. I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. I even want your title. And talking to the men, I want it all. And they just put it out there. So, and again, as much as I want to support these guys, I've been saying a lot of this for 4 years. And meanwhile, 3 years ago, look at my Twitter from 2022. Look at my Twitter from 2022 and look at some of the goofs in the podcasting world that were ripping me a new asshole. You're just a WWE dick sucker. You don't know what real wrestling is. The same fucking shit has happened on AEW now. And because Bischoff is banking it, Cornette is banking it, and everybody else is getting hundreds of thousands of views, now they think, oh no, I'm with them now. It's kind of like the Ultimate Warrior bandwagon. Once it was cool to support the Ultimate Warrior again, even though he didn't do anything fucking different. then everybody was like, oh, let's support the Ultimate Warrior again. So, all right. Let's move on. I think we covered all the advanced questions. I do not care about P. Diddy at all. I said this on Tuesday. I'll say it again now. He got caught on video in 2016 beating up his ex-girlfriend. I've never beat up a girl in my life. I've wanted to a few times, but I've never actually done it. You don't just do it once and then you're like, wow, what am I doing? This is not me. I'm not in it. You realize how many motherfucking times this guy has done it, just never got caught, or paid women that beat him up and are like, look, you can't ruin my legacy. Here's $100,000. I think that guy's done it over and over and over and over again. You don't just wake up one day, snap, and beat up a woman, and you'd be like, this is not like Bob Backlund in 1994 where he's looking at his hands and he's like, what have I done? That guy's a dirtbag. Never liked Diddy. Tristan, one of my initial thoughts when Hulk turned heel and New World Order was formed, I loved it. I thought it was great. Hulk Hogan has betrayed WCW. See, I remembered Hulk Hogan, and I became a wrestling fan in 1979. And one of my first memories of being a wrestling fan is watching Hulk Hogan in the WWF. And he fought Andre in 1980 at Shea Stadium. And so I had seen a Hulk Hogan heel before. But, I want to make this clear. I know people with their revisionist history. We were getting a little bit tired of Hulkamania in 1993 in the WWF. But Hulk Hogan was still tremendously over. He was still a draw. What happened was he went to WCW and they did the stuff with Ric Flair and they did the Dungeon of Doom and they did the Giant and they did a few other things and Macho Man came in and then after a while they needed to stir something up and Bischoff wanted to do the NWO angle and they wanted outsiders, and when they got Hall and Nash, this is why the Young Bucks thing, listen, I want Jack Perry to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad. But, for everybody that thinks that it's an NWO storyline, no, I think it's like a DX storyline where they're in the production booth trying to take over and they're trying to sabotage Vince McMahon and everything like that. I think this is DJ. This is not NWO. There's no outsiders there. If they would have done that with Adam Copeland and Christian, or if they would have done it with Jericho a couple of years ago and could have gotten 2 or 3 other people, maybe. But the Young Bucks are the EVPs there. And suddenly Tony Khan has no control whatsoever. That's why I think, when I put this thumbnail together, believe me when I tell you, I don't think, listen, by the way, that's a spoof on Michael Cole's outfit. But I think Tony Khan is either going to, I think he's getting physical on Sunday. He's either going to swerve and join the elite and try to do the Bischoff thing, or he's going to turn around and, get physically involved and, maybe help the not Blackpool Combat Club, because it's only Danielson and FTR and Darby Allin, but, the team AEW. He's going to do something. I don't know. Probably talking too much about them, so. Bianca and Jade versus Candice and Indy was lazy booking. No, it's not. It's not a storyline. It's just a match being featured on Saudi Arabia. Did anybody see that Jackie Redmond interview with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark on Monday night? Did it confuse you? For those that don't know what I'm talking about, on YouTube for the channel members, I put an enhanced version of the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show. We will splice in some video clips, vintage photos, and we're having discussions about stuff. We put thumbnails. We put a bunch of things in there. So we were talking about Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler winning the match on Monday in a fatal four-way to become number 1 contenders for the women's tag titles. So we're looking on YouTube and we're looking at the bonus videos, and Jackie Redmond was talking to Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler about them being number 1 contenders. And, they talk about Bianca and Jay Cargill for a second. And Jackie Redmond brings up, what about Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae? You could be facing them. And Zoe Stark looked like, what are you talking about? And I looked at it and I'm like, what is she talking about? Now we know that that's the match for Saudi Arabia. So I don't know if that video is still on Twitter, but if you want to go seek it out, go seek it out. Roderick, shout out to you, Roderick. After the AJ, Nick Aldis, and Braun Breaker Adam Pearce interactions, could we see an AJ Braun trade happen? Maybe a Gunther AJ world title match soon? No. I said on Monday, maybe AJ Styles gets traded to NXT. Once NXT moves to the CW, you will see a few more WWE main roster talents in NXT. The problem with bringing AJ Styles to NXT right now is, who name-wise is he really going to face? Trick Williams and AJ Styles, not there yet. I don't think you move Braun Breaker. WWE's going to Netflix in what, January? And when they go to Netflix, oh God, that's where TV 14 could legitimately come back. Now, look, I'm not saying that we're going to get blood on a regular basis. We're not going to get vulgarity on a regular basis. But if Raw remains 3 hours, Braun Breaker has much more of a chance of having a platform to do some crazy shit on Raw compared to SmackDown. I don't want to see Braun Breaker on SmackDown. I wouldn't mind seeing Braun versus Cody Rhodes, but right now, Cody ain't losing that championship. I don't want to see AJ Styles traded to Raw for Braun Breaker. If you want to do it for somebody else, sure. Absolutely. But no, I don't think so. No, we don't want Braun Breaker with Baron Corbin again. As much as I like that tag team in NXT, it grew on me. Braun Breaker, he's got it. And I don't think he should be full-blown heel. I think he should just do what he's doing. Crowd is fucking behind him. He doesn't have to fist bump anybody. But let me tell you something. That gave me Goldberg, Sid Vicious vibes. Kevin and I had that discussion on Monday. He doesn't have the greenness like Goldberg. But that vibe of the crowd just like losing their shit over simple power moves, we're not talking finishers either. Like Braun could hit 3, 4, 5 power moves during a match and the crowd fucking eats it up for each one of them. When he was destroying that guy in that match, Cal Dixon, I think his name was. Wow, I remembered his name. Prevagen. Everything that he did, every time he beat the fuck out of him, the crowd popped big for it. That gave me vibes of when Goldberg was hitting his moves and when Sid Vicious was in ECW. Just, again, it's not the same arsenal, but if you watch the crowd reaction and you feel the vibe, you know what I'm talking about. So, all right. How long we've gone? We're at 1 hour and 22 minutes, so we'll go to about 1.5 hours, and then we will cut it. And then Monday, Kev and I will be back. And then Tuesday, I'll be on Patreon. Kev will be on Patreon Thursday for KNT Chronicles with Trez. And then next Sunday, it'll be Kev and I right here for a special DTKC, Ask DTKC. Sit down, whatever you want to call it. And we'll be celebrating Kev's birthday too. So hope everybody could join us. That would be fun. And listen, we get nice turnouts with Kev here. Kev and I have no problem making the time and doing a few more special episodes here. It's just that we don't want to do it simply to do it. It's got to mean something, and it's got to be good conversation. So, nobody wants Braun Breaker booked like Goldberg. Never said 10-second matches. What I'm saying is the crowd reaction to his power moves, running the ropes and doing a spear, doing anything. That crowd is fucking feeling it. You know, there are some wrestlers that hit a move. I think Natalya might be a good example of that. Natalya hit a power move and she'll go, come on! Or even Shinsuke Nakamura, come on! Some people are like, yeah. And some people are like, Braun Breaker hits his fucking power move and he's in the corner like he's about to fart and everybody's fucking losing their shit. That's special. That is special. Romanowski would like to know the best tag team in wrestling today. Best tag team in wrestling today. That's a good one. You know, because I know everybody goes to FTR. You know, FTR is definitely up there. When Imperium was still doing what they were doing, I really wanted to see Imperium win the tag titles. I'm pissed off that they didn't get it. It's a lot. The tag team division right now is not all that great. It's not all that great. I mean, by default, I probably would still go for FTR. Street Profits are great also, but the thing with the Street Profits is, you know, you do a flip, you jump off over the guard post. They got charisma, but you know, FTR is just really smooth. And listen, I'm not the biggest Dax Harwood fan right now. And what does that go to show you? That if you're not booked the right way, you could still have the greatest talent. 3 years ago, everybody's like, FTR, greatest tag team in the world today. Greatest tag team, greatest tag team. They still could do the same shit. But AEW is booking him like shit, so now nobody even mentions that anymore. I kind of still lean to FTR, even though they're not being used all that great right now. Okay. Usos were good. Listen, there's a lot of decent tag teams, but you know, nobody's really standing out. And listen, that's WWE. That's WWE's decision to do that. You know, that's why Miz and R-Truth are still tag champs, with all due respect. You know, Creed Brothers. I'm not saying Creed Brothers were one of the top tag teams, but man, a year ago, man, people had a totally different viewpoint. Finn Balor and Damian Priest were great as a tag team. I thought they were great as a tag team, but now Damian Priest is world champion. So, you know, that tag team is no more. Near wants my thoughts on the UN paying tribute to the Iranian president. I don't think that was 100% UN. There are people that celebrate, you know, that pay tribute. I mean, look, legacy.com. I don't know how many of you go on legacy.com. Legacy.com is a very professional, unbiased website that covers all the deaths in the entertainment world, business world, political world, journalism, pop culture. They cover a lot. And I do watch every week to see who passed away, you know, and that's how I learned about Dabney Coleman passing away and some sports personalities. I just heard today that anybody remembers that documentary in 2004 where the guy ate McDonald's for a whole month. He died of cancer at 53 years old. It scares the shit out of me because he was younger than me. You know, but the thing, Super Size Me, I think it was called. But my point is, they covered the death of the Iranian president too. They didn't pay tribute. They just mentioned his death. You know, listen, there are people in every country that is going to give a moment of silence to somebody. You know, I choose not to give the moment of silence, but, you know, there's some people in this world, you know, that you just can't get through them. So, most underrated wrestler right now, man, I would have gone with Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs should be so much further on the food chain after several years. Ricky Starks as well. Those two come to mind right away. Ilya Dragunov, I want to see what they do with him on the main roster. I like Kev's idea of putting him in Imperium eventually, but I got to see Ilya versus Gunther once. I need to see it one more time, and I don't want to see the match they already had. But, yeah, Hobbs, I mean, you just think how many years that guy's been in AEW, and you look at him and you're like, how do you still have him in like mediocrity? You could put him next to the fucking president of the United States. You could put him next to a Playboy model. You could put him up next to a Hall of Famer. You could put him up next to the greatest heel manager in the history of the world. You could put him up against anything. But at the end of the day, it's just you see how they're being used, and you just say to yourself, Thunder Rosa totally misused. Thunder Rosa, you know, I give her so much credit because she pumps up the fans online and she tries to give that, you know, suspension of disbelief that she's going to get it, she's going to win it. And we could see right through it that, you know, she's the only time she's going to break through that ceiling in AEW, win a championship again, is if other people get injured or other people leave, and just by default, she gets an opportunity. So, all right, let's take 3 more questions and we will get out of here. DIY is not underrated. DIY is very good. DIY, they need more of a personality. Gargano's got the personality. You got to connect with the fans. You have to have an intimate relationship with the fans. There's not many wrestlers that go out there that have no connection with the fans, and the fans still are big time behind them. Name me 5 people that the fans are just consistently so much buzzing over, and those 5 don't have a connection with those fans. There's got to be a connection. Just going out there and killing yourself just so people could go, oh, holy shit, oh, holy shit, what the fuck? That's not the connection. I could fucking jump off a building right now and fucking flip around and everything else. And I could do Superhuman on YouTube? That guy, you know, you could do crazy shit. People would be like, look, even my indie crap, I got holy shit chance. A lot of you saw the footage. I got holy shit chance. I got fucking hit. I hit people going, holy shit. You got to have an intimate connection with the fans. All right. 3 questions. 3, we're going to get out of here. Michael Gonzalez, 25 years since Over the Edge. Owen Hart's passing. Do I think it was the right choice to keep the show going? Man, I was doing my hotline at the time. And Owen Hart passing away is one of those moments where you remember where you are, you remember what you were doing. I had gotten married. I got my marriage annulled 6 months later. I was living temporarily in a house that we ended up selling because my father had to help bail out a gangster from jail, and his bail was very high. It's a true story. And so I ended up moving in here. That's God honest truth. That's why I'm living in the condo I live now. We had to put the house up for sale. But for the 5 months that I lived in that house, because 1 month I was living here, I had internet dial-up, 56K modem. And I had my computer in a hallway. And I had one of these big floor TVs that weigh like 900 pounds and you can't lift up, that look like a big piece of furniture. And Over the Edge was on the TV. And then I hear, I think it was Jim Ross said Owen Hart had passed away. I don't remember who. I've never watched it second time, so I don't remember who exactly said it, but somebody said Owen Hart had passed away. I was like, what? And I went on the internet and I don't know, it was Prodigy chat, but we went into some chat room and people were talking about it like, holy shit, did you hear? Did you hear? And the internet was so in its infancy days. I mean, we were on the internet 3-4 years already, but it was still so, low budget that you couldn't just connect to like news reports. Like you would see like a newspaper, you would see like a Associated Press. But I did my hotline that night and we would just, it was surreal. I don't know if anybody ever gets chills on their spine, like legitimate chills. I remember getting chills over and over and over as I was talking. It was just a really surreal moment. Now, to answer your question, I've debated people about this. I've thought about it. I see both sides. I could take the cop out and say, I could tell you why they should have stopped it. I could tell you why they shouldn't have stopped it. Here's my honest answer about it. If it was not a pay-per-view, and if it was a house show, garden event, and that accident would have happened, I truly believe that show would have ended immediately. They would have just canceled the rest of the show. They might have had to offer refunds, but, there's bigger things going on. So if they have to refund, so be it. If it was not a pay-per-view, they would have definitely canceled the rest of it. Because it was a pay-per-view, and because there's pay-per-view companies that were getting paid and getting percentages and there was commitments, I think that's a situation that they have never dealt with before. And plus, the internet is not what it is now. So almost nobody in the arena knew that he had passed away. So they kept the show going, thinking that, okay, it happened. People in the arena don't know. We don't want to cause chaos. We don't want 10,000 plus leaving the arena just totally emotionally devastated and distraught. We just witnessed a death in front of our eyes. So I understand why the show kept going. They were uncharted waters. It was pay-per-view commitments. I know what some people are going to say, fuck the commitments. Easier said than done. It was a situation where rather than causing real chaos in that building, the show kept going. Listen, there's no perfect answer, but that's my honest take on it. Drew says WWE has him concerned with being too oversaturated while they were on this hot streak. 2-day SummerSlam has him wondering if they're going to burn out the fan base quicker than later. Why would they burn out? I mean, let me tell you, listen, I've seen those hip-hop celebrities that got all this play the last 24 hours complaining about SummerSlam burnout. I get where this is coming from. But let me make this clear. Somebody who is a hip-hop guy, a TikToker, social media influencer, I don't give a fuck how much they complain. I don't give a fuck how much it kind of like burns them out. Fuck you. You don't like it, go fucking rap. That's my honest take on it. This is how I look at it. If WWE is going to have 2 nights, Minneapolis, and they are going to treat this very seriously, a step below WrestleMania, then you should expect top matches, top storylines. Isaiah wants to know, what are my thoughts on Tony D'Angelo's gimmick in the family? Do I think he'll get over when he comes to the main roster? Listen, I'm Italian, gabagool. We have the sit down, which is tuning into right now. Tony D and Santos Escobar had a sit down. I'm the Don. since 2005, and we got the Don there. I'm Don Tony, he's Don Tony. There was so many references that were similar, and it was funny because when I went on my honeymoon in Florida, I was supposed to meet Tony D. And Don Tony D was supposed to meet Don Tony D and take a picture together, and that motherfucker was nowhere to be found. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. Tony D'Angelo has really improved. He was never bad. He was just green. He was not a wrestler before. So Tony D'Angelo, to be where he's at right now, he deserves the props. He has worked hard. I'm a big fan of Stax. I think Stax is great. His look is a little off, but I think he's great. Rizzo, Ariana Rizzo, is that her name? She's okay, but she doesn't stand out to me. She kind of reminds me of like Maxine Dupree, sort of. I don't know, but and the other guy, I personally, and I say this with nothing but sincerity, I don't think it's going to work on the main roster. I think that's going to give Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro vibes. I think it'll get outdated very quickly. Their gimmick is not Sopranos. It is not Goodfellas. It's not John Gotti. It doesn't reflect the Italian society of today. It is a outdated, almost comical. This is the best. And listen, I'm an Italian. Members of John Gotti's family went to my wedding. Hell, you guys saw my dad was on a John Gotti documentary. You guys saw it. I didn't make it up. There's a reason why I'm saying this. If there's anybody you could take this from, take it from me. And I don't normally toot my own horn like this, but take this from me. Tony D'Angelo's gimmick, when they're in the restaurant and they're eating, and then you got Reggie show up with his tag team. I know Reggie's leaving, but they show up with the guys that look like they're from Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The way that goes down, that's New Jack City vibes. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, back in 1989, 1990, a movie came out called New Jack City, one of my favorite movies of all time. Wesley Snipes started it. Awesome movie. There's a scene in the movie where there's a couple of Italian mobsters sitting in a bar. And I guess they're supposed to like talk to like Nino Brown or somebody in Nino Brown's family. And, you know, one of the older Italian mobsters goes like this, something like a hand signal, like, and trust me, for people in my neighborhood, they looked at those Italian guys in that movie, and when the guy got his ponytail cut off by Wesley Snipes with a knife, everybody cheered. Because those Italians in that movie were made to look like goofs. Nobody in the 80s or in the 90s did what those supposed Italian gangsters did. It just looked ridiculous. It looked stupid. It looked goofy. When I used to go out, when I was in my early 20s, I used to tell the stories about going to this Italian restaurant, Butterfingers. And after the restaurant would close, they opened a dance floor and they would stay open till 2, 3 in the morning, and they'd have music. And we used to see these cardboard gangsters come in. And a cardboard gangster is a guy who thinks he's a gangster, tries to dress like a gangster, tries to act like a gangster. He tells people he's a gangster, but he's not a gangster. And they walk in, and their shirts are unbuttoned down to about chest level, and they have extra jewelry, hair's slicked back, wearing a wife beater shirt underneath, and they're basically bobbing their head and doing like, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah, and then they're imitating Robert De Niro from Goodfellas, smoking a cigarette. They'd be at the bar going like this. And everybody would spot him and go, cardboard, cardboard, cardboard. You could spot a fake gangster from a mile away. That's what Tony D'Angelo's character comes off as. Fake gangster. Going to, "Hey, how you doing?" Hey, that's like Tommy Rich in ECW doing the full-blooded Italians. That character will be tweaked big time. That gimmick will not survive on the main roster. It may work for a couple of weeks, then it'll be squashed like a red wine grapes. Be like those fat 75-year-old Italian women that step on the grapes with their bare feet. My grandmother used to do that on my father's side. My grandmother used to make homemade wine. One time, she lived in Ridgewood, Queens. One time I went over her house, I think I was maybe 8, 9 years old, that she was in the yard, and he had this big wooden barrel. And I didn't know what she was doing, and I went into the yard, and she had the basil and the tomatoes growing and everything like that. And then she climbs into this thing, and she's going like this. She looks like a big fat penguin, and she's literally squashing the grapes with her feet. And that's how they used to make wine. Legit, for real. Tony D'Angelo will not survive on the main roster with that gimmick. It'll either be tweaked drastically, or he will not go to the main roster. That's my honest take. I know we went a little longer. All right, we'll stay 8 more minutes. We'll finish at 2 hours exact. Charlie Conway wants to know, do I despise or hate Dave LaGreca busted open? No. He's goofy, but I totally get why Busted Open does what they do. Kevin and I are going to be having a discussion very soon about this, but that's a place where, let me put it this way. There's a reason why Peter Rosenberg works for the WWE. There's a reason why Sam Roberts works for the WWE. Dave LaGreca, Sam Roberts, Peter Rosenberg, they all come from the same cloth. They will talk as if WWE is real. They will be very careful in what they say. Their digging for dirt is, Cody, what did The Rock put in your hand? And everybody's like, oh, is Cody really going to reveal? Bullshit. That's safe. They're the safe space for WWE, where storylines could be advanced, where people that don't normally get. Why do you think last week they're making the case for Tama Tonga to be in the King of the Ring final? We watched and they're like, you can't be that dumb. Are you Polish? I mean, it rhymes with Moloch. I mean, that's something a Moloch would say. Tama Tonga? Well, who in Saudi Arabia wants to see Tama Tonga, King Tonga? Why? Because it sounds like King Tonga from the 80s? Why? Why? Oh, he elevated. Push what? Push what? At the end of the day, it's Roman and Solo. And the other guys are there so the Usos could play with them. Tama Tonga don't need to be king in the ring. But they make the argument because, hey, Tama Tonga gets a little elevated. So they make dumb arguments to help boost people's value, storylines, this and that. A lot of it is, scripted. The We Want Cody thing was manufactured. We called that out before it even became a thing, just like the We Want Roman. When we did our WrestleMania predictions, what was the first prediction we put up? Hashtag We Want Roman. Soon as Roman Reigns loses and goes away, WWE will start this We Want Roman, because the more the fans want Roman, even though it makes no sense, because why is Roman Reigns allowing Solo Sikoa to do what he's doing? Why wouldn't Roman Reigns come back and take care of business? Why would Roman Reigns allow all this shit to happen? Why would Roman Reigns allow Jimmy Uso to get his ass kicked? Why would he turn on the fan? Why would he just go into hiding? It means he doesn't care about WWE. Roman Reigns should be booed out of oblivion right now, because Roman Reigns is, every week that goes by, just like Rhea Ripley. The Judgment Day is imploding and Rhea Ripley is sitting at home, in storyline. It's not her fault. You look at this, but that's what their job is. Their job is to be Peter Rosenberg and Sam Roberts and all that on steroids. Just like Brian Gerwitz. Brian Gerwitz, The Rock, Cody Rhodes, everybody involved. Triple H is going old school. Triple H is bringing back what we had in the 80s, the 70s, even the 90s to an extent, where you didn't know where the line begins blurred. This is pro wrestling. It's supposed to work me. It's supposed to work you. It's supposed to work the wrestling audience. It's supposed to make you think that this could possibly be real. This could actually have a little reality about it. Maybe Triple H really went up against The Rock. This is TKO Group Holdings. This is WWE. This is Triple H. This is sports entertainers doing what they do best. But the funny thing is, and Kev brought this up, and I bring this up too, the weird thing about it is in 2024, a lot of wrestling fans, instead of appreciating that they're being worked, because that's what these wrestlers' jobs are supposed to be, instead of appreciating it and enjoying it and taking it in, they get a personal anger about it. They're not working. I knew that Cody was losing his opportunity. It's a weirdness. It's an insistence that what I saw was real. This was supposed to happen. Brian Gorwitz is doing what these guys are doing. I'll never be able to convince everybody out there, but one day you'll start thinking about it, be like, yeah, you know what? That's pro wrestling in its finest. When they can actually fool you a little bit, that's when they're doing their best. And I don't have any issue with it. And let me make this clear. And we'll end it with this. Brian Gorwitz, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, Triple H, anybody that talks about this, whenever somebody covers it, they always put a word with an LY in it. Possibly, likely, appears. That doesn't have an LY, but take notice and nobody says point blank, Brian, Dwayne, Cody. Was Cody's match against Roman Reigns off? Or did they explore other options? CM Punk's injury was the main reason why things were thrown into disarray. Because by then, they already had merchandise built for Roman and Cody, and they already had this story for 2 years. Then Rock got involved, had to get involved, and then they gave this perception that Rock had abuse of power, and then to figure out how to deal with the fact that Seth Rollins is no longer going to main event night one against Cody Rhodes, then Rock and Cody agreed they'll work both nights, and Dwayne would work the first night. And the telltale sign about all of it was when people are telling you that Rock was going to win and retire and give the belt back and say, I'm going back to Hollywood, that's the equivalent of Hulk Hogan finger poke of doom. Taking Roman Reigns' historic run, Cody Rhodes' 2-year story build, and literally pointing to the chest and the Rock, winning the championship and then giving it back so he could go back to Hollywood. Vince Russo wouldn't even come up with that for the people that hate with Vince Russo. But you know why nobody talks about that? Because for some reason, people get angry that they actually thought that that was going to happen. All this stuff was going to be thrown in disarray to appease The Rock. It's weird. Rock is not wrestling. What happened to The Rock at Cody at SummerSlam? What happened to The Rock having multiple matches this year? What happened to Rock was already scheduled to do an MMA movie. Rock was already supposed to do this. This was already booked. This was already scheduled. This was already done. How come nobody reported 3 months ago that Rock can't win the belt? Rock can't do this. He's going to have to go to do this MMA movie. This and that. Sooner or later, people will figure it out. CM Punk's injury was the major catalyst into why things changed up a little bit. All right, I'm going to jet out of here. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Don't forget, this Monday night, Kevin and I will be live on dtkcdiscord.com for your Don Tony Kevin Castle show. we'll put in an enhanced version of the show on YouTube Tuesday afternoon. For our Patreon family, I will be on Patreon Tuesday. Kev will be on Thursday. And then a week from this Sunday, Kev and I will be live right here at 8 p.m. for a very special edition of the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle. We'll actually be doing back-to-back nights. We'll be doing a sit-down version here on YouTube, and then Monday night we'll be back to our regular shtick. So hope everybody enjoys the rest of your weekend. I want to thank you, as always, for the support. Much love. And, hey, if you know anyone out there that enjoys, the shows or wants a recommendation for a show, let them know. Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle, we are back. And we got some country shout-outs on Monday. Pretty cool shout-outs. We try to give different countries a shout-out where needed, but Monday's going to be 2 cool shout-outs. So have a good weekend, everybody. Be well and enjoy WWE King and Queen in the Ring. Enjoy AEW Double or Nothing. And I'm sure Kevin and I will have quite a bit to say Monday about both shows. So you all have a good one.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.